Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Today, I would like to talk to you in regards to my speech about whether or not the outlaw Billy the Kid should have gotten his pardon. Uh, I'm going to take this point of the argument to discuss the reasons why I feel he should have, and then my next speech will counter that, of course, and talk about the reasons why he should not have received it. Any of you guys that don't know, Billy the Kid was an outlaw. He died in July of 1881 at the hands of Sheriff Pat Garrett. He was shot and killed in Fort Sumner, New Mexico that night. Anyways, but to backdate that just a little bit so you understand, Billy the Kid was up for a pardon in 1879. He was pardoned. He was promised a pardon by Governor Lew Wallace, who was a territorial governor of New Mexico at that point in time. And he was promised a pardon for him in 1879 if Billy the Kid agreed to turn state's evidence and testify against some members of the Santa Fe Ring that were involved in a killing that happened in Lincoln Town back in that previous year. So anybody that does not know, Billy the Kid was actually at the point in time that this pardon was promised him was wanted for the murder of Sheriff William Brady. And if you'll reference, there's hundreds and hundreds of sources, to be honest with you. One in particular that I get a lot of my information from is the author Frederick Nolan. In The West of Billy the Kid, he talks about the day that the murder happened and how Billy the Kid was a crucial witness to that actual murder. So basically, Governor Lew Wallace came down and promised him trying to get control of New Mexico, trying to settle all the outlaws down so that New Mexico could become a state. And Governor Lew Wallace also had other aspirations of going further in his political career. So his main goal at that point in time was basically to settle New Mexico down, bring law and order to it, and bring a lot of these people to justice. So he reached out to Billy the Kid, who at that point in time was, like I said, wanted for the murder of Sheriff William Brady, and asked him if he would turn evidence against three different men that had been involved in a previous homicide. Billy the Kid agreed to do so, and true to his word, stepped forward, testified in federal court in regards to these charges on these other men, and held his end of the bargain, basically. After such, he waited around, and to make a very long story short, Lew Wallace fell through on his promise to pardon him, and nothing ever came of it. Well, Billy the Kid again reached out to Governor Lew Wallace multiple times with no success. 4 different times, actually, he wrote Governor Lew Wallace letters that went completely unanswered. And the reason why I think Billy the Kid earned his pardon was for a couple of very simple reasons. First and foremost, if you look at what he was wanted for, it was, again, the murder of Sheriff William Brady. Well, if you stop and you look at the facts of that particular incident, Billy the Kid was one of 5 different people that was there at the scene that time. The actual murder of Sheriff William Brady occurred in April 14th of 1878 when Sheriff William Brady and 2 other deputies were walking down the street. Billy the Kid, as well as 4 other regulators were involved in this killing. Numerous witnesses say that all men fired shots at Sheriff Brady and his other deputies, so it's completely impossible to determine if Billy the Kid was actually responsible for taking the sheriff's life. Another very interesting fact about this case is Billy the Kid was the only individual to ever be brought up on charges and held responsible for any of the actions of the Lincoln County War, which is what encompassed that assault that we're talking about. And during the Lincoln County War, there were anywhere estimated between 75 and 115 people that were killed in about a 3-year time span. Very, very bloody time in New Mexico's history. And Billy the Kid was the only one to be held accountable for that crime. So for that reason alone, I feel that Billy the Kid is warranted his pardon. Interestingly enough, this hit the limelight about 10 years ago when Governor Richardson of New Mexico, who was an 8-year governor of New Mexico, looked at this case and unfortunately voted to not give Billy the Kid his pardon. He took numerous things into consideration. First and foremost, he took into the consideration of the ancestors of Pat Garrett, who were the sheriff that killed him, as well as the ancestors of 2 other deputies that he later killed after this promise was pardoned to him. So yes, it's unfortunate that Billy the Kid was not given this pardon. And another really key reason why I believe the pardon was justly earned, and the reason why it should have been given to him was the fact that after he went on the run because the pardon was not honored, he was forced into a situation where he was sentenced to hang for that murder that he had earned the pardon for. Because of that, he took matters into his own hands, escaping the Lincoln County Jail and unfortunately killing 2 deputies in the process. And again, and I'm not trying to justify the killing of two deputies during that process. We could go into a long bout of the